Residing on the east side of the Altai Mountains rests an area that has become quite popular among those in many fields. For some, it was built long ago by human hands, for others, by the hands of nature. But more recently are a faction who believe the environment, in all its complexities, played the first role in its creation and was later manipulated. Current estimates have placed the earliest tools found to be at 3.3 million years old. With the evolution of humankind continuously reaching for new heights, is it at all unusual that we should wonder how far back our curiosities have extended? On a geological scale, the age of man is a recent affair. Earth and its neighborhood are in constant motion, and throughout their existence there have been events in its history which have brought varieties of populations to their knees. However, we are a prevailing species, and as this planet continuously changes, we adapt to these shifting environments. But is there a specific amount of time this planet and its domain can take all of the advances the civilization can achieve and wipe it clean, leaving only stories in its wake? If our civilization were to fall, what would be of our monuments and industrial works? Once time has reached an extremity where geologists are forced to find a natural solution for their present state. What traces would future intellectuals seek to know of our presence? There are gigantic stones and unusual shapes in bedrock all over the globe which are enshrouded in legends. Could we be looking at tens of thousands of years of weathering and geological restructuring that has brought them to a point where they are no longer recognized for what they once were? How would the gentle slopes of the artisan appear to us once our world has worn away the veins of softer material? And if the Sphinx was left to ruin and did not receive the attention of a new face nor restoration, would we still perceive it as we do today, or would we see it as the product of geological forces and weathering? Our ancestors created phenomenal artifacts from stone. Their craftsmanship was to such a degree that those who work with stone today question how these achievements were reached with such simple tools. Who were the first to begin to chip away stone in an image of their wanting, so that future generations would be able to accomplish these tasks with ease? How far back does this knowledge extend to? Could Gornaya Shoria, with its high walls and block formations, be just that? Is it a representation of something our ancestors had a part in, or is it purely natural? The two main theories surrounding how this area was constructed are based on weathering and geological activity. The other involves heavy weathering on jointed rock, which changed the chemicals within the joints, allowing them to decompose, leaving straight spaces between. Although there is no argument among the majority that this area was created by natural forces, there is debate, however, on how it came to take up the appearance it has today. Formed of granite, the sector that makes up its ridge is a conglomerate, meaning it is made up of a host of different materials. Granodiorite is the strongest in this category and is what makes up most of the rock. In 2019, MDPI published a study where a team of scientists looked into the structural makeup of the granite at Gornaya Shoria. This study was done on the platinum group metals to show the relevance of a new method in understanding the creation of primary rocks and ores. PGMs are highly sought after for their many applications. They can resist an onslaught before breaking down, including corrosive chemicals and high heat. It's one of the reasons we use them to our advantage in this industrial world. During the testing of their new method, they discovered a high-purity platinum, but that wasn't the only discovery made. A new mineral called tashelgite was also found. In the field of dendrology, the region has provided some tantalizing specimens. Plants, which were once abundant in the tertiary, have taken over and are flourishing, including one species which is growing at an abnormal rate. What else will be found as interest in this place grows deeper? In 2013, researcher and explorer Georgy Sidorov discovered Mount Unsouria. A year later, an expedition was launched to look at the area more closely. The geologists on his team were taken back at what they saw. 130-foot towering walls and immense granite blocks piled one over the other, some weighing in 3,000 to 4,000 tons. During this investigation, their compass needles avoided the stones. While granite is not highly magnetic, some of its properties are. Metals are typically a tiny percentage of granite's overall makeup, but are still picked up by a compass's magnet. What does the composition of this rock contain that would misalign the Earth's magnetic field that a compass normally orients itself to? Could their instruments have been thrown off by something as simple as a watch or keys? While it may be comfortable to assume that a mistake was made, the researchers are certain there was not. Strange holes have been found all over Mount Unsouria's summit. Some of these holes can be attributed to pitting. This type of occurrence is the result of weathering on rock, as it finds cracks on the surface in which to pool. In some cases, this is followed by plant growth, which accelerates the process, creating a deeper cavity. While some of these are easily explained, what isn't is how the majority are found on the sides and under the stones. In places where not only plants cannot take hold, but where water isn't able to pool. Some have suggested they may be caused by extreme heat. Sidorov questioned during his research what type of circumstance could have turned these pits white. Even through pitting, pooling water will darken stone as it sits, and yet this cannot account for all of these due to their location. So if heat did cause these anomalies to form, what kind of event could raise temperatures to the point that it would leave this type of scarring? There are few things in nature that could generate enough heat to modify diorite to this extent. But until further research is completed, we can't be certain what has caused this. Damage at Gornaya Shoria has been ascribed to glacier retreat. When glaciers pull back from an area, they leave what is called glacial till. This debris is caused from the overwhelming weight from a glacier as it crushes and drags everything beneath while making its way across land. What's left behind is a trail of broken fragments. Although they are known to lift and carry large rocks, it is not without damage. So why have the blocks been seemingly untouched? How did the advancement and retreat of a glacier leave these gigantic stones unscathed? There are numerous stones which have been distributed for hundreds of meters from the base of the mountain. Many are at distances too far to have simply been carried by momentum from the mountain's summit, and a great deal have been stacked as though they are awaiting transportation. If glacial deposition, which is the process that creates till, is responsible for this, why didn't the pressure scour the base of this ridge? Why would a glacier select the largest blocks and leave smaller ones behind? Perhaps there is a straightforward explanation that Mother Nature has hidden from us. Or perhaps our ancestors were here to take advantage of her natural processes, and one day work had ended. Some explorers, whom have traversed the difficult terrain to witness these walls, have claimed that the way some of the blocks are distributed beneath are suggestive that there may be structures and passages beneath. Could such a thing rest in the remoteness of Gornaya Shoria? Could these just be an oddity where some of the stones were placed in such a manner to have allowed our minds to wander? Or maybe, under the cover of this dense and unforgiving forest lie structures that will put these claims to rest. In the end, this could very well be a natural wonder that has never experienced a human hand. Or we may find that there are even more questions than answers. Well, here I am. And I'm not really sure what we're looking at here. I do believe that the initial construction of this massive ridge was created naturally, though the idea that ancient people didn't have a hand at any point in its history is a tough one to just leave be. There are ancient constructions out there which are built out of bedrock, and we may very well be looking at a man-made wall, but it's no longer recognized because time has battered it without remorse. With that said, there is something that needs to be covered here, and that's the constant back and forth on what our predecessors were capable of. This argument needs to be put to rest because they were capable of whatever they put their minds to. And that goes for advancing the structures they built, as well as the tools they used to build them with. A single individual in one moment can change society. People are intelligent, adaptive, and we're forever changing our ideas. A baby isn't taught to grab an object and use it to climb up to things. They do it instinctively. We're all built with the inherent ability to utilize and take advantage of our surroundings. To think that our ancestors couldn't have advanced their understanding is bizarre, especially when we know it's in us to make use of the elements in our environment. And we've been making use of stone for thousands of years. It's difficult to believe that gigantic granite blocks laying around to be claimed were of no interest to an ancient culture that built with megalithic rocks. The entire area of Siberia is littered with immense structures from dolmens to standing stones. Question is, where were they quarrying it from? If it does turn out that the entire area throughout its time was of no interest to our ancestors, it's still by itself an amazing place. But until it's settled, I guess we'll just have to keep asking questions. Until next time.